So good afternoon, February the 25th, 2014. This is CISG113, Section 1 in week number 3. Today is day number 4. Okay, let's get started. February 25th, 2014. Welcome back to this week of CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. If you look at the white screen, today is day number 4 in the semester. And according to this design of schedule, we're still in learning contract number 1, that is IBM. We will be in learning contract number 1 for 1 more week next week. And then we need to submit the artifacts for learning contract number 1. That will be in the week of March 8th. Okay? So this week, we have to go through 2 modules, ethics and social responsibility in the information age, and the second one, which is scheduled on Friday, digital divide in the 21st century. Okay? So you're going to get some ideas on what is meant by ethics and what is meant by social responsibility. And hopefully, before you come to class, you've already gone through the before class guidelines, which help to go through a little bit of what we want to get through. Now, before we get started with today's work, I have let's spend 25 minutes. Let me walk you through today's work. Today, we have at least 1 student signing up for sharing for today. That is Emily. So you're going to help us to share, right, today? Not ready? Did you say?
I make a mistake.
It's a mistake?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not ready to share yet. So let's go to another one. This is written by Julia and Wu Yuan. Okay? So Julia is going to share today on something. Julia, are you here? Are you ready? Today? No, not now, in the second half hour, okay? So we make sure that we know you are here so that we pass the time to you. So on Friday, with another student, Wu Yuan, are you here today? Wu? Okay, on Friday, right? Okay, so make sure that I give you enough time. So the second thing I would like to put to your attention is the parent information. Now, last Saturday, before the end of last Saturday, you should have sent me, or better say, given me information on the learning partner. And then we got some students who have already paired out. So you can see that we have pair number 1 with the first 2 students, Christy and Shannon. And then we have pair number 3 set up with Zhao Chuan and another student. Okay, as you can see, right here, Julia, right? And then we have pair number 2 with Ji Bin, and right here, as you can see, is number 2. If I'm going to box, you can let me know. All right. So it's Ji Bin and Sen Yin. All right. And then we still have some students who have not been paired yet. So, for example, Nampa and Lauren, okay? And then we have Angie and let's say Stopsy, okay? And then we also have Jacqueline and Amelia. So I hope by the end of today, actually, you can send me another message as to who your possible learning partner is, okay? The way to do it is not complicated. The way to do it is actually, you come back to week number 2, and right here, you use your hotline here, and you put your information in your hotline, okay, just like this one, although they're not following the format as expected, but it's okay. So please help yourself by giving me the information of the learning partner. Now, if you do not give me the information of the learning partner, I cannot set you up to use the peer discussion forum, which you can see from this week. We have set up a peer online discussion forum, which is very important because you need to use it starting from today throughout this week and next week with your learning partner to finish your discussions. And the discussion detail to finish has to be submitted as one of the artifact items of learning contract number 1. Okay? So you need to have a partner to start with. So if you have not been paid off, make sure you look forward to a partner. I'll give you some time after the sharing of Julia today before we continue in the first half an hour. Now, having said that, let's come back to that only after we have handled today's class. Okay, let's get started with today's class. I hope you get ready with your piece of paper. You need to do some kind of personal journaling and then discussions on your table and then sharing at the end of it. And I have 20 minutes time to help you accomplish that. So let's get started with the first item for today. The first item for today is to introduce to you the idea of ethics, okay? So, and then the idea of social responsibility. So let's get started with a very soft video because we're interested in the security aspect. So let's look at the ethics of intellectual privacy, which is also written here in during class activity, okay? But I have to choose what has to be discussed. Okay? So if you come here, you know that this is one of the items we would like to discuss today. So let's go to the ethics of intellect privacy.
Tell me
So now, with this very short video, you have just witnessed some of the facts of life when you go online. Okay? Whenever you go online with your computer, surfing on the internet, and particularly when you're using some kind of Google, or better say not Google, search engines, what you have just watched in that video give you some facts of life. It's something you might not be observing or aware of, but it is something important that you may not know and we cannot tell you. For example, everything you need on the internet with that kind of social media sites are by default public. What does it mean? Your personal data left there are supposed to be taken away by someone else to take a look at it. The only way you can try to make it private, not to be visible by others, is through some deliberate effort. Now, how can we be sure this is what's happening? Imagine if you have a Facebook account. Try to go back to your Facebook to look at the setting of your Facebook. Now it's easier. In the past, if you want to change the setting in such a way that what you share there may not be easily visible to others, it's not true. It's by default public. Okay? And so when you try to use that Facebook account or whatever it is, social networking site, in the terms of reference, they say that I agree to this terms of reference. My information, in some sense, are made public. Are you aware of what kind of consequence such terms of usage might have in our life if we do not pay enough attention? Now, today's topic is ethics. Ethics, what does it mean? Let's take a look at this. Ethics is not rigorously a piece of law, okay? Law tells us what is definitely acceptable according to the jurisdictions of the regions. Like in Macau, what kind of law do we practice? Basic law. Basic law. But basic law is a framework. The details of the law is practiced by the continental laws of the Europeans. That's why we have Fakti, State Fakti, or Serve Fakti, whatever you call it. It's codes of law for the businessman, for the criminals, government criminal acts, and whatever it is. In Hong Kong, they also have basic law, but in Hong Kong, the details of the law are covered by the British common law system. Okay? Okay, now when we talk about ethics, we're not talking about law degrees. We're talking about something that happens in our life that is judged more by our moral values. Okay? I give you an example, ethics. Suppose you attend to a restaurant, you have your lunch there, and you read over there the menu tells you lunch set $50. Okay? And now you pay the bill. Okay, you happen to pay the bill by doing something like this. You give the waiter $100. Okay? And now you expect some change, right? Because you expect to pay only $50. Now, take a look at this situation. Now, when you receive the change gives you $70. Wow. I just have to pay $30 for lunch set which said $50. You say, of course, it's a good deal. Maybe they give us a discount. So good, I keep $70 for a meal which is $50. Now, this is one act of behavior. And then, now, what if? When the change comes back, you're supposed to pay $50, but now the change only give you $30. What does it mean? They took you $70 for lunch, which, according to the price, $50. So what are you going to do? You charge me more than what I should, right? Normally, this is what we want to do. No, you should just charge me $50 instead of $70. Why? Because you just give me the change of $30 in exchange for my $100 note, right? Okay? Are you following me? No? Okay. If you go to a restaurant, you order a lunch, which according to the menu, $50. You finish the lunch, now it's time for you to settle the bill. Okay? Here comes the waiter. Please, sir, this is your bill. And you say, okay, here's $100. So the waiter took the $100. They're supposed to give you back $50, right? Because your lunch is $50. Now, my scenario says, the first time, when you got back the exchange, you got $70 for a meal or lunch, which is $50. Will you answer enough to tell the waiter, no, you should give me $50, because according to that, it's $50, now you give me $70, you give me more, nicer. Now this is, will you do that?
Yes.
Normally, yes, but I'm sure some of them not. Okay? And then the second thing is, when the change come back, you were supposed to get $50 in return, but you got $30. Okay, less than what you expect. Then normally we would say, hey, I'm expecting $50 as change because you said it's $50, right? We are not willing to pay more than what we should. I think 99% of the people will say that whenever we return less change than what we expect. But what if, in the first case, we will return more than what we expect? Oh, $50. Cost me $30. Okay. You see the situations. Now I'm talking about ethics. Ethics tells us, which one do you prefer? Which one will you choose in the case of you're returning more money than you expect? Will you tell the waiter, no, you should return to me $50 instead of $70? If you belong to that category, well, normally we say you are ethically high standard persons. You know what it's supposed to be. All right? Will you become not high standard, ethically acceptable in the sense like this? You are very much going by the ethics because ethics tells you what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? If we were returning less change than what we expect, well, normally we should report it, but a lot of people will say, oh, good, windfall today, that just came in. All right? So, let me tell you a personal incident. Every Sunday, I go to church with my kids, and my kids would expect Daddy to buy them McDonald's burger breakfast. And so normally I have to settle 3 sets of breakfast for $70. Okay? So I'm expecting every week $30 in return. And one day, I received, looks like $30, but new notes on $20. So one side is $20, the other side is $10, so it's $30. But when I went back to the church, I treated, wow, I got 2 $20, 1 $10, so I have $50 in return. Definitely, my reaction was I went back to the McDonald's, I told them, I got this, so you better take this. And the waiter looked at me. Okay? So I say, I'm just returning the money. You understand? I didn't gain more, I just do what I did. Okay? So now I'm not telling you that this is not something many people would do. But today we're talking about ethics. What do you expect to be right or wrong when there is no such thing as right or wrong? It depends on, because the law didn't say that. But you have to exercise a choice. All right? So in the context of these particular video, you or we as the user, when we accept the terms of reference, before we come to use a particular service online, either Google search engine or whatever Facebook science, they have something that they know will be a little bit unacceptable to people when we say explicitly. So they produce a terms of reference because of the design proposal, the design of operations of this particular site. When you leave your information, personal information on this site, by default, it is to be made public. Okay? And you can do something to make it private. But when when you accept the terms of reference and use the sign, you better read our terms of reference for the sake of you may misunderstand the way it's being operated. So whenever you are offered a service to use, they will not let you use it until you take, yes, I agree, and then I accept. But how many of us who read through the terms of reference when it's so many pages long and there's hidden in those terms? Normally we don't. We just enjoy the service. And so here comes a typical example, which is not online, but in Hong Kong we have the octopus card, the electronic money card. Okay, so we use the octopus card to pay for almost in Hong Kong anything. I go to a restaurant just like the Cafe de Coral, I can use my octopus card to pay for it. If I go to take the Hong Kong rate system, I can use the octopus card. If I go to take the bus, I can use the octopus card. And so normally each Hong Kong resident or visitor is going to have an octopus card. But when they have the octopus card, they need to fill up some personal information. Okay? And I forgot some of the particular requires you to tell them how much you earn. Okay? And specific residential address, your mobile phone number, your email address, very personal. Okay? But because of the sake of convenience, a lot of people are willing to fill that up. But unfortunately, 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, we were informed that the CEO of that octopus company was invited to resign from the company for the sake that she accepted a deal to sell the customers' personal information virtually from the resident in Hong Kong to some kind of international marketing company for millions of dollars as revenues of the octopus company. But although there is no rigid law to tell her that she is not allowed to do that, but ethically speaking, we know that companies should not do something like this. Okay? We are willing to fill up the form to purchase the service like that, to surrender a personal data. It does not mean that a company could take advantage of us by selling mass amount of personal data to marketing companies. And of course, the CEO resigned, but the deal was made already. Okay? So I do not know if there is any rectification for the public company to do something otherwise. All right? But we were informed afterwards that many companies in the world, big companies choose, do actually doing something similar. They believe they're doing something that is, perhaps in a sense, good for all of us. Because sometimes when we have a phone call, we were told that we are from a particular company, we would like to sell you some product which is very good, and you do not know how they got your phone number. Sometimes they're polite enough to tell you, could I know your name? But the fact of the matter is, 99% of the time when they call you, they know your name already. Okay? So how do they got those data? Mainly from the sources that they got from different companies. So we were told that sometimes we are living in a world that a lot of the informations are made public in a sense without understanding. And with the incidents of Edward Snowden last year, we are more aware of the fact that even the government is actually taking advantage of that. Otherwise, it's not that easy for them to really peek into our data, and they use very supercomputer to do the analysis of things like that. So ethics here, when we talk about intellect ethics, well, I think one fact of mine reported and the Sweden is very true. Most of the time, the information is made public by default and made private only through a lot of efforts. Okay? So this is an example of what kind of ethical standard are we holding for ourselves, accept the fact that we're doing it that way. Well, another example of that is we know that each one of us would like to keep clean. We want to live a hygienic life. So we do everything possible, wash our hands, blow our nose, whatever it is. Well, walk into the public restroom, and you can see that a lot of the time, people after using the public restroom, particularly the toilet seat or whatever it is, they do not make it, I cannot say they don't make it clean, but at least maintain the situation as it is before we use it. Okay? That everybody could enjoy a clean toilet or restroom. So the ethics tells us if we want something which is called common good, we have some kind of responsibility to maintain common good. Now that link comes to the social responsibility concept. Okay? If we want to maintain some kind of common good everybody enjoy, each one of us, including company themselves, has certain responsibility to make it happen. And so that is the concept of social responsibility. Now, let me try to see if I could give you the idea of social responsibility by going through a very simple reading.
Mass layoffs and record profits at the same time, manager salaries, scarcity of natural resources, and imminent climate catastrophes, morally questionable advertising, child labor, corporate fraud, financial crisis, and the Occupy Wall Street movement. These are just a few examples you may have heard about under the topic of sustainability, business ethics, or corporate social responsibility. These themes raise questions about justice for current as well as for future generations. We want to ask, corporate social responsibility, CSR for short, what is this? This man made headlines a few years ago. In 2004, Angelo Bucalotti learned from investigators that he was chairman of the board of several companies set up by his employer, the Italian milk concern Parmalat. Angelo, however, had not even heard of those companies, and Parmalat was only responsible for the switchboard. You can imagine how the story goes. Corporate fraud at its best, bogus companies, cooking the books, bribery, accounts of the Cayman Islands, the whole works. The task of corporate social responsibility is to prevent these and other morally reprehensible practices which can weaken society, damage companies, and hurt employees. More and more companies have realized the relevance of moral practices in their businesses, even though they have not always sufficiently implemented CSR yet. Concrete preventative measures are often labeled risk management, a term more commonly used for avoiding financial risks and damage to a company's reputation. No one likes bad press, right? Thus, companies define clear rules, so-called compliance or value management systems. For example, you can accept a bottle of wine from the supplier, but you have to pass up a golfing trip to the wine. However, risk and compliance management are only one aspect of corporate responsibility correctly understood. Firstly, CSR is not just about preventing bad practices, like corruption and fraud and so on. Secondly, this approach does not question a company's business activities as such. In fact, compliance management could be an efficient control mechanism even in organizations like the mafia. The more challenging question is, how can companies contribute to a good society through good business practices? Oh, that's easy, they say. We'll create a charity foundation or donate a lot of money and thus do good. Wrong. That won't hurt and may even help, but it's not a step change. The important thing is, CSR is about how companies make profits, not about how they spend them. Corporate social responsibility must not simply be the repair center of capitalism. It has to demand systemic change in the market economy. This requires a new role for the key players in this game. Companies must become not only economic, but also moral actors. What's required and important is a stronger integrative perspective based on a system of deontological values and which is closely related to the company's core business. This means social and ecological criteria must be taken into consideration. For example, in the treatment of employees, organization of the production process, offered and produced products and services, and responsible business practices of suppliers, the so-called supply chain. By the way, virtuous managers or the honorable merchant alone will not suffice. We need employees of integrity at all levels of the company, but we also need organizational structures and clear rules. But relying on a code of conduct is also short-sighted because in extreme cases, it means act according to some given rules, which is the opposite of ethical reflection, namely actual thinking about good and evil, right and wrong. In other words, CSR is always about both individuals and institutional structure. In business ethics, one speaks of individual ethics and institutional ethics. But isn't that unrealistic? Shouldn't the state do more to promote a good and fair society? Granted, it is unrealistic, and that's exactly why such questions are important. Business ethicists don't just ask what the world is like, but also what it should be like, how it ought to be. At the very least, we want to suggest where the journey should be. At the same time, we want to make practical suggestions about how to embark on that journey. One speaks of questions of justification on the one hand and of implementation on the other, preferably in that order. The state, particularly through politics and law, can contribute to the implementation of corporate responsibility, but only within a limited range. If we look at society from a bird's eye view, we can spot different social systems. The economic system, the political system, the justice system, for example. One can speak of the functionally differentiated society we live in. About 60 or 70 years ago, some German economists came up with an idea that led to the development of the social market economy as we know it, particularly in Europe. The thought that a market economy should be embedded in a political framework that determines the rules of the game. This underlying idea is still important, but it has become distinctly more difficult to rely on the state alone. Societal differentiation has progressed because most systems have internationalized. Globalization is the magic word that applies to most systems, but not all of them. Politics, and particularly law, tend to be bound to one country's borders, while the economy, above all, is highly internationalized and globalized. This makes effective regulation difficult. Thus, it is now not only about the classic rules of the game, but also about the moves of the players, the corporations, in a changed and changing world. And beyond politics and law, civil society, in particular NGOs, have gained a strong influence in the economy, as both vicious watchdogs and as partners of business. In the society of the 21st century, we find new, rather odd hybrid constructs under the notion of soft laws. These are collective individual commitments to comply with certain social and ecological standards, such as collective industry agreements or the UN Global Compact. So companies are supposed to operate responsibly. Is anything really happening? There is no clear answer to that question. The cynics say that CSR is like teenage sex. Everybody says they are doing it, but few actually are. And those who really do it rather badly. The truth is more nuanced, of course. In the area of corporate responsibility, there is also the good, the bad, and the really ugly. More and more companies deal with CSR and take the first steps towards responsible business practices. We can definitely observe a distinct effort, even though it is still a delicate little plant. And of course, there are still those who misconstrue CSR as a PR instrument and simply want to greenwash or bluewash their company. And unfortunately, there are still companies that don't give a damn about questions of corporate responsibility and which even trample on justice. Got all that? Let's sum it up. First, CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. Second, CSR is based on the question of good business for a good society, today and tomorrow. Third, corporate social responsibility is not charity. It is about how companies earn their profits, not how they spend them. Fourth, it takes employees of integrity and appropriate organizational structures to realize CSR. It is a matter of individual and institutional ethics. Fifth, politics continue to play an important role. But in a globalized world, the effects of regulation can be limited. And thus, sixth, companies play an increasingly important role. Seventh, soft laws are new governance mechanisms based on companies' self-commitment. Finally, CSR has arrived in business practice. It is necessary to support these developments professionally, but also to provide critical perspectives with respect to them. Research on issues of corporate responsibility is still beginning, and future developments will be exciting to see. It is unclear whether a good and fair society can be created with the help of companies, but it can be created without them. Oh, we almost forgot. Besides corporate responsibility, there is also consumer responsibility. You can practice that the next time you go shopping. And there may be more from us on that topic.
Okay, I think we're at the end of this episode. It's very good in the sense that it's trying to summarize a lot of things. 10 minutes. And what I would like to do, in about 5 minutes time, I give you a break now, I would like to put some thought into what we discussed and what you watched at the very beginning. Ethics, what it is, how is it related to information security based on the sub video at the very beginning, will give you some facts line when you go online. Then, how is ethic is related to the key term of responsibility, particularly social responsibility, because it's not just something that we do it by ourselves, but when we do not do it, just like cleaning up the toilet after using it, someone else is going to suffer. But on top of that, besides the individual who are doing it, what if the companies, the organizations in the society are not doing it? And so we expect them to practice some kind of ethical standard so that we can benefit for it. And from the video here, which is longer than what you expect in 10 minutes time, they try to present you a relatively complete picture of where does it go as a corporations performing the social responsibility. Now, in 5 minutes time when we start, I would like to pass the time to Junior first, so that you can share with us what you have prepared. And then we'll engage together, table by table, 5 minutes of your discussions on the topic ethics and corporate social responsibility before we move into the third half an hour. Okay? So take a break of 5 minutes, stretch yourself, and then Junior, do you have anything you need to do in the computer? Okay, you can just stand up and share with the whole class. No, 5 minutes take a break. And I will pass the microphone to you. Okay? So take a break. And of course, in the first half an hour, I'm going to tell you something very specific about the artifacts you need to handle when you submit your living contract number 1. Actually, in this class, already 2 to 3 students already approached me at the end of the class last time, and I shared with them what they need to do. And I think it's time for me to share with you too. Okay, something today and some more things on Friday. So you need to understand how to do it. Okay, If you want to go to the restroom, you're free to go. That is one practice of the ethical standard at a university. Now, you can read this notice here. Some of the systems, they would not let you know things like this. So when you pass through personal information here, by entering a username or password, other people can actually capture it. Okay? And in a society or in an area where things like this happen, the Google car, it produces the Google map for you to collect a lot of data. Okay? So this is an important practice of ethical standing. Have you ever read things like this? Have you ever used this before? No. If you have a iPhone there, you should be able to get access to the UN wireless LAN. Okay? So if you're actually going on Wi-Fi, you have to enter your username and password like this, and they will use some notice here. The productions of the notice here is exercising some kind of ethical standard, telling you what you enter here and not encrypted and easily detected by someone who did not agree. So, ethical system. Okay? So an example of ethical standard. All right? I do not know when you use the iPhone, when you're trying to get access to some kind of wireless LAN. If you're going by Wi-Fi and the university cloud producer notice like this, and this is absolutely a practice of good ethical standard. They're informing you the information here is not protected. It can be easily detected by people. Okay? But a lot of the system when you use them, they will not give you a notice like this in a very physical area. Okay? They actually physical information. You see that? This is a notice. If you use a system like this, try to get the username and password, every number. So it's easily capture information go through the system itself. They know that they don't want to protect really campus, so it still works to use the somebody else's information, use the same. Using this, there's people that they know the system happens to be the exact same. System, you can type in username and password. Normally, when you use a system like this, you will not encrypt someone with your types of devices, data, and use the data, use the password. Do you have an iPad or something? Because we need the campus, they do not provide 3G connections. If you have a CDN 3G connection, except for the fact that we just have something next to it here, otherwise we need the campus. Because that is, at least I'm just trying to show you that by using this notice here, in exercising what we call acceptable ethical practice, informing you early now that when you use a system like this, when you enter your username and password, it's not encrypted against people within textual devices that actually capture your user ID and password. And unfortunately, these are all hackers. So basically, we need to be very careful sometimes. And particularly in the airport, a lot of airports have free Wi-Fi service. So may I invite Julia? Are you ready? Also to understand something of your sharing. So actually, I want you to, if you could, no, you have to. If you can stand somewhere there, it will be good. You're facing the audience. Your fellow student is the audience. Yes.
Hello everyone, I'm Julia. Today I'm going to share something about the generation like. It's a video about the like. What is generation like? It is the process of like generating, like we update our profile on Facebook, then someone will click the like button and to show his or her preference for our profile. And second, what's our attitude to the like? And everybody wants to be liked, and someone may say people are what they like to show their personality. And the more likes we get or they get, the better they feel. And when we post something on Facebook and somebody click the like button, and the more the likes we get, we will feel wow, really happy, really excited, satisfied. Or when we get no likes, and somebody will feel oh wow, so sad, and maybe even angry or not so confident. However, should we really let our emotion to be controlled by others so easily? It is what we have to think really, really hard, and not just say that like is really like. Some parents may complain about the technology nowadays because they think the children really always staring at their screen of their iPhone, iPad, or computer. However, is it the technology really should be blamed, or the users? Everybody who is using the Facebook, WeChat, FaceTime, something like this, we use it not so properly and cause this coincidence. So what should be blamed is technology or the user's attitude. And the third, what's behind the like? More like we create, more money the company gets. It's not the talent and lifestyle that the users show, but maybe it's the way to get what they want. Like some people post, like the actor posts some pictures, and so many fans will click the like button. However, maybe the fans not just show preference for the actor, their behavior, but because the fans like what the actor is wearing, the brand, or something like this, and so many companies will make use of it and earn big money. Someone just have some cooperation. Maybe A has so many fans on Facebook or YouTube, and B has so many fans too, and they have cooperation and upload one video that show both of them to the YouTube, and the more fans they will get, both of them. And this cooperation will achieve the win-win. And both of them will earn more fans, and more companies will find them, and maybe create more opportunity to earn big money. And what's our role in this big game? The audience or the people who are playing the important part to earn their benefits, especially money, instead of just showing our talent, our lifestyle, and share what we want to share with our lives. With our friends. Like is never just like, there are much more about it, and we should think really hard and deep about the role that we are playing in the big game, and how should we play well, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julian. I think you brought up a very interesting issues. Now, let me remind you, Junior has used the PBS documentary that I introduced you last week called Generation Like. Well, like is the word we use in Facebook, and if you post a photo, you would like to receive many likes, right? So, but now let's think about this in the context of ethics, and also in the context of social responsibility, particularly the corporate social responsibility. Before I give you the 10 minutes time to discuss, let me point this out. If you have heard recently, Facebook is proposing to add into the Facebook interactive environment not just like, but add 6 more like tag. Something like sympathy and love, or design like. Have you heard things about this? And so later on, you can choose not just like, but many more. Okay, which is very much tailored to our line. Now, may I suggest, is this an act of corporate social responsibility to serve the community better? And if it is, in what way? If it is not, what kind of ethical stuff they are thinking? Well, you may add into your discussions in the following 10 minutes. I'll give you at least 5 minutes talking within your table. In another 5 minutes, I would like to invite individual table to give us some of your ideas about that. Now, we start with ethics from the internet privacy perspective. We show you the context of corporate social responsibility, and then we have the sharing from Julia about generation like, and then let's see if we can come back to the themes of this week. Okay, so help yourself now. I will promise I'll give you enough details on your work to do and to submit before the end of today's class. Talk among yourself while I'm doing attendance call. Okay, talk among yourself. Help yourself. Christy, thank you. Shannon, thank you. Amelia, yes. Michael, thank you. Jacqueline, thank you. And Daniel, thank you. We have a new look today. Thank you. Stopsy, yes. Ivy, thank you. Manny, thank you. Thomas, yes. Angie not returned yet. Lampard not returned yet. Tang, yes. And Julia, yes. Norrin, thank you. Peter, yes. So we're expecting 2 more students to come the following week. I see if I can invite someone to share with us the table's perspective. Now I have one microphone here, one microphone here. Let me put the microphone to you, and if you have your table feedback, so could you just help yourself, you can stand up and introduce a little bit of your table's perspective, okay? Yeah.
First of all, our group agreed that what is the IRC or company responsibility means, which means it should be, the company should achieve the social responsibilities, which means what the society want the companies to become. For example, car factories, they produce a lot of pollution. However, our society want a better place to live, which means the company should achieve it by using more eco-friendly chemical or producing less pollutions. That's a good thing that the company responsibility should be like.
Well, that's a very good example, indeed, very good.
And another thing, which is about ethics in information technologies. We believe that ethics, the word ethics, which means the social laws, which formed by people, however, is not written in word. For example, we should not date a girl or boy with boyfriend or girlfriend. No laws in Macau, in Hong Kong, in everywhere written it on word. We cannot date a boy or girl with boyfriend or girlfriend. However, we should not do it because we believe this is disgraceful. So, ethics, which means something that the law formed by our society. However, it's not written word.
I like the example you give. It's very interesting and stimulating. Yes.
And finally, about the internet privacy, we believe that it depends on which in which website you are going to, and it depends on that to giving information. For example, if you go to some website which is the .org, which means it's occupied listing by company, by organizations, you should give some real details about yourself, because you know that that website will depend on some kind of privacy rules, and they will stick with it, and your privacy should be protected. However, when you go to some kind of social medias, they are not that quite depends on their privacy rules, which means your privacy may be affected by someone others. So we do believe that when you go to some kind of social media, you should give some like big details about yourself here. For example, big birthdays, big names, like something like that. There's our group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. I think you have made a very interesting example and also suggest something which is very much of today's practice, because even in YouTube today, when we try to register for YouTube, they suggest that we use real name, because with real name, people is going to be much more cautious of what they are supposed to do. In the past, you could use pseudonym, but now it's real name. Okay, so any suggestion from the other table? Okay, the ladies there. Yes, Emily's table. Thank you very much. Your sharings makes a lot of difference in this class.
Ethics, internet ethics is about a study of what are good and bad we did it in the internet. And we need to think what is right and wrong about what you did.
Okay.
And we have some suggestion for you about using internet.
Okay. Yes, help us to understand your perspective. Yeah.
There must be something written in law or in common sense that we cannot do.
Okay.
We are not allowed to look through those data or information in others' computers without their permission.
Okay.
And we cannot use computer to make some false evidence in court.
Okay.
Yeah, and something like that.
You're actually helping us to remember in the very first video called the Ethics for Internet Privacy. Very good. Yes, any more you want to add, your colleagues? Okay, then may I come to the other tables? Yes, thank you very much. Could you help us to understand your table's discussion detail? Yes, thank you.
Okay. As I have my group opinion, just in the video myself, in the first beginning of the video, they say CSR.
CSR. Yes.
CSR should be the company followers, right? But I have to ask, why the company have to? Because as a term of company, I understand that they're making profit just for making profit.
Right.
How can they follow this also making profit on the other hand? So this is my questions
Okay.
thrown up here, and how many times or follow this route will get more profits from CSR.
Okay, so what do you think? The other members on your table, do you have any feedback?
This is our questions. But
Okay, questions. Let me try to give an example as a response. We know that we have a lot of babies born each year. And normally, besides breastfeeding from the mother, we need the powder, the milk powder, to help make sure that our babies were enough to eat. Okay? So we consider that the productions of the milk powder is a very important business because for the sake of the next generations. But it turns out that we discovered that inside China, it is not that we do not have factory to produce milk powder, but they are so sophisticated in the sense that the milk powder produce some harmful effect to the babies. So people inside China are afraid to purchase those milk powder products. Instead, they trust the milk powder products market in Hong Kong and Macau because of the quality difference. So in this perspective, you can think of the corporate social responsibility of getting involved in such a milk powder business by itself is very profit making because a lot of the people is going to need it. But if in case the company could not practice good ethical standard of using some kind of ingredient in the productions of the milk powder that would be not good for the baby. Now, the result inside China tells us people are not going to buy them because we do not know what's going to happen to our baby. And in fact, bad things happen to many babies who die because of that. So now, from this example, you can think of the social responsibility, or better say the corporate social responsibility, in a sense, produce consumers' trust and confidence of the product. And then this leads to profit in the making, continuous business, and what can we do in a sense? So from this example, you can put into it some more thoughts of your own and come up with some conclusions which you believe are good enough. Right? And if you want me to give another example, I would say the example given by the other table would be good. For example, if we have a virtual community of learning in this class, okay? So if we want to encourage one another to learn from the other students, we have to uphold to a basic ethical standard that we are all learners. It does not matter if we do not know it. It does not matter how silly a question you ask, because we're here to make sure that we learn from one another. So there is no teasing at all, okay? So we say in this learning community, one social responsibility for each learner in the class is we never exercise any sense of teasing. We respect each student's right to ask questions. We will never say that this question is silly or simple. We will just listen carefully and answer the best we could. So that is a different ethical standard we could practice. And with that standard established in the class, it's good for everybody because we are no longer in a panic of being teased together, right? So this is another example. Now, in view of the time coming, could you pass the microphone to the other table so that we could also listen to the boys group over there, and what do you think? Thank you for the excellent question first. Thank you very much. Just share with us whatever that is in your mind, it's okay. We are learning from one another. Hello, Stopsy?
We think that we can't control our information are given to the third person or public to others. But it's important to the commercial organization to give a guide to us to show that the privacy is open or is not protected. I think that this guide can help us know more about the privacy, but more important is social education. I think everyone should know how to protect their privacy themselves. But so I think the evidence or the
Do you mean the responsibility?
Yes, responsibility is not only for the commercial organization, and so I think everyone should learn how to protect, but not only say that the commercial organization is not good or they don't protect their information. So I think that's all.
Thank you very much for your sharing. Have I given you a chance to share? Okay, do you want to say something? Okay, for the sake of time, we thank you very much and we would like to invite you to share with us next time. And I think it makes quite a good sense today to try and get across to you the context of ethics and social responsibility. And in view of the time, we just have 5 minutes left, so we thank you very much. Could you give me a piece of paper so that I can install you? And I'm looking forward to seeing you back here on Friday. And I know it's going to be a hot Friday, you have to stay here until 7. So I will remind myself to get ready something to drink or something to eat. Okay? And sandwich, hopefully, yes. Pizza. Wow, council, what is that? Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll remember that, all right? Thank you very much for coming. And I will install you as a peer so you can start doing something. Now you see I have one of my time, but I promise in the next, on Friday, I tell you what's entailed in the artifact we submitted for the learning contract. But you can also get back to the website and look at it first. But there's something I must tell you, okay? And actually, Antonio knows something about this, okay? And then the other, yes, it's Juliet, yes. I have invited them to help share the message here, okay? And thank you very much. discuss 只係揀呢4個其中一個啫，明白嗎？咁即係話咧，你4個星期咧，可能你做咗10個 topic 都當係12個問題啦。但係當你加級嘅時候咧，你嗰個 learning content 只係10個揀1個 topic 出嚟，同你個 learning partner 係唔同嘅。同樣你個 learning partner 係嗰10個揀1個出嚟，但係你揀一個 learning partner 咁即係話，無論係嗰部有幾多條問題都好，當你交底到一啲 contract， 我哋屬於嘅時候，你着重嘅就係你要同埋幫你做解個 topic， 就係其中一條問題個 topic 嘅啫。咁唔係嘅，未必嘅。你嘅責任就係要去令佢知道佢有啲乜嘢特長，因為原則上就係交唔係原則，實際上就係交唔到。你揀一個，原則上要做晒咁多個，係啦，交一個，咁所以基本上當中有空位啊，即使做唔晒4個先嘅獎勵，做死一個。但係如果只可以噏高上去，噏高嗰個咧係你係譬如噏高大學真係 check 嘅時候咧，係買啲 N 嘅時間先 check 嘅，真係要俾翻你嘅時候，即係因為我會計你10個先係有啲咩有獎嘅，係啦，咁我咧有半分喺度。半分嘅即係做咗第一條同埋做第二條，係啊，咁唔緊要，我冇俾分你嘅，我淨係俾 feedback。咁如果我再做下一個 week 嘅咧，即係咁你就下一個 week 將佢寫啦。咁但係你個半分掉晒，你就你有時間就做翻個半分。咁如果假設但我做咗幾個 week 嘅將佢都做完全做咗咁期多啊，但係肯定唔會話多啲分，因為你交一個獎咯，係嘛？因為如果你如果連個交晒好辛苦㗎，一次過可以咁樣，可能會。好殘忍嘅事嚟，唔得㗎。因為同埋咧，你工作咧要揾到出細貨。我呢個設計咧就話，我俾時間去做你嘅獎勵，即使你今次做唔晒，咁你下次做翻佢攞嘅時間其實。但係最後你一定要 semester 完之前咧，你起碼做10個獎勵，即係10個月。即係，但係你當你到嗰個呢啲工作交嘅時候咧，起碼你要交1份獎勵，即係1個星期嘅。因為我哋有4個星期累積㗎嘛，所以只係需要交1個星期嘅獎。咁仲有咧，我就將佢交放喺個 OIA 方面，就係我覺得你話我嘅將手今日仲要講緊時間關係，或者星期我會加上一啲嘅但係寫咧，多謝你，多謝。嗱，你如果你留心咧，喺呢種咧，我哋有用 online activity。其實 online activity 咧，包括你寫章啦，寫科啦，寫啦，或者帶個 contract 咧，寫章文科。咁我哋 expect 你嘅 journal 咧，就係咁寫嘅。你係要有 OIA。其實我哋咧係B1、2、B4，你哋寫到咩章啦？你要將佢點揀咧？你就係揀呢個你揀個 item，你 scan for item，scan for item 嘅時候咧，就我哋最主要你就嚟就係mark咗啲嘢，咁你就有啲 list 咧，就mark咗啲 list 喺邊度先，因為第一樣嘢就做咗啲計，咁所以你喺間章嘅時候，你就都確保寫嘅嘢係晒，然之後你做佢成一站，大概如果係10個 item 咁你寫出嚟嘅時候，你只需要攞 copy and paste 同埋攞邊度嚟嘅。咁然之後咧，你呢個嘢咧，其實就係 annotations， 即係好慢嘅問題，要 copy and paste，係我頭先呢個分嘅。其實係講嘅事嘅問題，我哋就叫做 stand one， 即係嘗試咗喺一個案例裏邊咧，因為佢有佢嘅見解，佢嘅生字嘅變咗我 suggestion 咧，就係因為要俾呢個問題出嚟講，咁就係會 sense 啦，即係最後咧，你要將你所睇翻你所加嘅就將佢變成一個 simple 嘅 section， 呢個 paragraph 咧幫你 extract 咗，將你放埋嘅嘅長篇出嚟，變成一個大嘅 story。呢個 story 唔需要一啲特別，但係咧係時間我哋會話去追啦，或者聽到好嘅 story。所以當你睇呢個 multiple target 咧，你係點樣嚟 就係話，當你揀嗰個 topic 嘅時候，上邊係 action 咁你最後出翻嚟係技術我哋嘅升級，我而家做到呢個真係開始嘅時候咧，要跟住多，就係幫你不斷嘅反思啊，睇翻你所做嘅嘢，即係呢個叫做 increase 啦。喺過程當中係需要你練習嘅，你當時會有10幾次過咗兩個月10幾次嘅練習。每一個 reading contract 你都要做一次呢個細節，每一個星期你要 ready 足夠嘅資料去方便你嘅客戶。所以我嘅時候，當你見有冇買表啊，寫翻寫啲嘢俾你，我就都會成個問題嘅上先。真係先 basically 呢個講嘅對你嚟講，我最後睇你你就要根據你嗰個 partner 所指出嘅嘢，你嘗試修改你自己要求嘅字。我哋過程當中好多嘅資料咁樣，就係當你話你自己嘅時候，你會先要求你以幾多唔同嗰啲相關資料嘅 references 同資料嘅情況。咁佢相關 references 嘅時候，睇翻佢哋嘅學生意思係乜嘢咧？意思就係話，即係我係一個我最近要求你做咗一啲叫做嗱喺 Antonio 佢做咗嘅話，佢揾俾咗我 feedback 嘅有心得。好簡單嘅 Antonio 佢做咗呢個 journal， 佢係好跟 YA 去做嘅。咁我 feedback 話俾你聽呢，是跟翻 YA， 跟住咧我下邊做咗兩 sample。Suppose you are working on what's information privacy. You see, this is number 9 of the topic. And suppose this is an item you want to expect. Okay? What I would like to expect from you as from the journal is, from your discovery, you lay down like this observation, you cover this application, and you have 1, 2, 3 up in the air, and you just capture the item from the reading there with some citation, which is very simple citation out there. And you discover that you might have a number of observations. These are not necessarily sentences or questions, just I can capture for you. And then you come to the interpretation, asking questions, not necessarily in one of these, but some kind of question which related to your impressions of the reading. And so you express it in one sentence with some question followed, with a citation, which you discover from the other references which might relate to just all of them did not have finished reading. So we put it from 3 to 5. Okay, I would say at the very beginning, 3 would be good enough. Okay, when you are familiar with the discovery process, go from 3 to 5. This is my basic requirement. And then when we come to the applications, you have to try to put together what you have put here and look back and write something about the precise ideas. Sentences, which will tell something about your externalization. Okay? This is what the internalization process. When you try to write it out, it becomes your knowledge based on the reading, capture idea, process through its analysis. And so if you keep doing something like this, you will discover that you never something to do with topic. The first thing you will do is find something which is really appealing to my eye. Then I will ask the question, what do I need more to understand this? And then you might question and somewhat basic understanding. And finally, try to put all these ideas together as a simple story, okay, with your apartment, take a look at your stuff, okay? And then he's going to say, I'm not so sure what the country is, where the country is, I'm not so sure what it's doing. This is reasonable for me, okay? And then you can go back and then you can try to see, okay, studying that, and then something like more than the size of my idiot, and then really I find that these are the choose which will help my confidence to grow. And then we use the consider. It's an exercise. So if you ask me, free observation, free interpretation, free application, whatever. Yes, for journal. Because after you've done things like this, you're ready to stage this in an online discussion forum for your partner to take a look at, and your partner can respond to each one of these up to the partner. And then once you got some feedback from your partner, you can go back and then you can in your discussion forum and do some more evaluations. So that is the initial stage. Discussion is the second stage. And then put together a report, okay, which is not necessarily long. We could report guidelines over there. And then at the end of the report, you take what your partner has done for you and write a blog on top of the choose. And your partner will take what you've done for you, write a report based on, not a report, a blog based on the report you finish. Because you need to do a journal, one topic on your own. That's why I say one topic on your partner. You need to do a discussion with that topic. You need to produce a report with the two topics both of you and the partner. At the end of the report, you take the report to compose a blog on your topic, and your partner will take the report to compose a blog on his or her topic. So the basic process of coming up with a journal is very important. If you do not journal produce like this, your partner can help you. That's why I say when you post something in your discussion forum, particularly for your partner to discuss with you, you must have something like this. If you have not posted something like this for your partner to give you feedback, I would say you're not ready. Okay? Fair game, all right? So if your partner not produce something like this for you, you also say please make sure you do something. So that means you're honest with what it is. It's not difficult, but it takes some time. That's why in time management I say in the first learning content, 4 hours per week is about right. Because you might need 10 minutes a day, and so you might come back to this 6 times a week. So it's 1 hour in general. And you have another hour with your partner to do the interactive discussion through the forum and also in class. And then at the end of that, you have to take some material or write a blog. So 4 hours in the first learning contract, including the report. But in the second learning contract, you might have to work up to 5 hours per week. Because in the second learning contract, you still have one more thing to do that's called wiki. Collaboration is online. Okay? Which is basically just the same. But you have to write a report together. Here you can still write a report offline. But in the second learning contract, you can learn how to write a report online together. I think you will keep it. Right now we have a journal, discussion forum. In the second learning contract, we have a wiki. Okay? And in the third learning contract, you stay with the journal, discussion forum, wiki. And then finally, we come to the portfolio, very logically interesting technology. Okay? But this is the basic. Okay? Remember, how many tools are you using? You have to go through this idea. So it should not be too difficult. Start with something small. Get used to it. Congratulations for your questions. I will tell you more on Friday if you can understand it. Very good. All right? Let me just close it. Thank you, Antonio. So that's it for today's CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is February the 25th, 2014.